We welcome you to the biggest tournament in the Caribbean, the Punta Cana Poker Classic. From the spectacular Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in the Dominican Republic, come and enjoy poker in paradise with your friends and family and play in this rock star event. With a guaranteed prize pool of $500,000, it's your turn to win. Welcome back. We're here on the beautiful island of Dominican Republic here in Punta Cana at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino to show you the final table of the Punta Cana Poker Classic. We're down to 6 players because if you remember, we just lost Herman Poncio in the last hand when a 7 rivered him. The only card that can get him beat rivered him. Ari Angle went right through him and knocked him out of the tournament. So we're down to 6 players. It was great action, a lot of fun. Tell me what you think is going to happen.
Well, certainly I don't know, but I wouldn't want to be on his team.
And you?
Well, I'm definitely rooting for the player from Dominican Republic. Raul Castillo is doing a very good job.
That's right, he tripled up in the last episode. Let's see what happens in this episode as we go from 6 players down to who knows where. We'll be right back. Brought to you by AmericasCardRoom.net, the Latin Poker Series presents the Punta Cana Poker Classic. Welcome back to Punta Cana here in the Dominican Republic for the Punta Cana Poker Classic. With 507 players starting, we are now down to the final 6 players. Let me give you their chip counts. In 6th position, Stephen Jacobs with 700,000. In 5th position, our former chip leader, Farid Yatin, is now down to 950,000. George Monsaf is at 1.3 million. Bob Kateski, 1.2 million. Jose Raul Castillo, who is always worried about where he is in chip count, is now over 2 million. And Alan Ari Engel is at 5.3 million. He is our chip leader as we go back to the final table for all the action from 6 players down. And here are the payouts that are remaining. We've already given away the last 3 places. Starting now from 6th place, we've got $24,345 to whoever gets knocked out in 6th place. That means that everyone at the final table has earned almost $25,000 guaranteed. Here are the players that are remaining and where they're seated at the final table. Raul Castillo is in the 1 seat. Bob Kateski is in the 3 seat. Ari Engel is in the 5 seat. Steve Jacobs is in the 6th seat, Farid Yatin is in the 8th seat, and George Monsef is in the 9th seat. And here we are back at the final table. With the small blind being George Munsef, Raul Castillo is in the big blind. First act will be Bob. And Bob Kateski has really come up from the pocket pair of nines he had way back in episode number 1. Still some smiling faces out there in the crowd. As the final table gets smaller, the crowd outside gets bigger as the money becomes much more important. Ari is going to raise here. Ari's raised to $175,000. Steve lets it go. So does Farid. George lets it go in the hood, and so does Raul. And Ari is going to win the blinds and antes. Very important. Any chip that you have in a poker tournament is very important because one chip becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, and so on. So it's very important for every chip that you can pick up along the way. And now further action. Ari is under the gun, and it looks like he's reaching for raising chips again. And he has raised to $175,000 one more time. Steve lays it down. Raul Castillo now makes a re-raise to $530,000, a little over $500,000. And Ari lays it down, and Raul is going to win this pot. So all the chips that Ari just picked up in the last hand, he's now given to Raul, which is important, as I said, to get all the chips you can. This tournament doesn't end until you have all the chips. All right, we're back to the blinds and antes of 30 and 60,000. Bob's in the small blind, Ari's in the big blind. That puts Raul on the button and Steve first to act. Steve will act, as a matter of fact. He's raised to $175,000. Farid with a short stack now looking for a hand. George with the hoodie has decided to move all in. He's re-raised all in here. Everybody's folded. Now it's down to Ari. Ari lets it go, and Steve now has a decision to make. $530,000, and Steve has called, so we're going to see Ace-9 against Ace-10. Both suited, one in spades, one in hearts. The Ace-10 is ahead. Here's the flop. The flop is 9-10 Jack. They both flopped a pair, but the 10s are still in the lead. There's a 4 of clubs on the turn and a 7 on the river, and the 10s are going to win. Well, the player who just doubled up, George Munsef, let's find out a little bit more about him. Stephanie, please give us some information about George Munsef.
George Munsef lives in Edmonton, Canada. He has successfully participated in 31 tournaments. In September of 2014, he took 17th place in the Calgary Poker Tour, Canada. He also took first place in the Deep Stack Extravaganza in beautiful Las Vegas, cashing in an $84,000 prize.
I'll tell you, what a quality group we've got here at the final table. The blinds have moved to $40,000 and $80,000 with a $10,000 ante. The chips are still the same, light blue $10,000, red or $25,000. Ari is in the small blind, Steve is in the big blind. That puts Bob with the button and Farid first to act, and he folds. With 6 players, it really comes around fast now. George lets it go. Bob on the button after Raul has folded. Looks like he's got some raising chips. And he has raised it to $210,000. Ari now in the small blind. He folds, and so does Steve. And Bob's now got enough chips to do that. He's got enough chips to make raises in position in order to pick up chips. All right, a lot of action here. Let me show you where I'm going to be after the tournament is over. The spa services here at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Some great stuff available. All right, with the button on Ari and Steve with the small blind, and Fareed now taking a portion of his stack and putting it up for the big blind. He doesn't want to put out any chips without finding a hand, so he's going to be looking for a hand here. And under the gun will be George. He'll be the first one to act. Six-handed takes great position here. Under the gun is an important spot, as well as all the other spots at the table, because making a move here means some big chips. 40 and 80,000 blinds. The pot's already got 180,000 in it. George lets it go. Looks like Raul is going to reach for some chips here. He has, and he's raised it to 185,000. 185,000. Bob has laid it down. Ari now looks at the board, thinks about his hand, trying to decide whether he wants to get involved in this pot. In the meantime, he's looking behind him. He knows what kind of chips are available behind him to make sure he's not in any kind of big jeopardy or danger. He's now cutting out a big chip stack, and he has re-raised. He's raised to 450,000. This puts Raul under the pressure to decide what he wants to do after his raise of 185,000. Raul Castillo, the lone participant from here in the Dominican Republic, trying to make the right decision with 6 players left at the final table. That LPS stands for Latin Poker Series. Does it stand for I call your big bet? He wants to see how many chips he's got? He's put out calling chips, and he has called. That means there's a little over $1 million in the pot. We're going to go heads up to the flop. We'll see exactly what these players are holding after the flop, or the turn, or the river. Right now, the flop is 2 10s and a 5. 2 black 10s and a 5, and Raul is first to act. He's checked. Now it's time for Ari to think what he wants to do. Ari's been in many of these situations before. He understands the role of having position. He's reaching for some chips. He's come out with a pretty small bet, but it's certainly enough for 225,000 to take the pot. As Raul mucks his cards quickly, Ari takes down a pretty nice sized pot and adds to his chip lead. Ari's now got the bulk of the chips on the table. Without giving you a chip count, you could see just from the visual just how many chips more he has than everybody else. This next hand's got Fareed in the small blind. George is in the big blind, reluctant to put it out, but there it goes. Raul first to act and folds. Bob folds. Back to Ari. Ari lays it down. Now Steve Jacobs has got the button, but he folds. Fareed looks at his hand, announces all in. Now it's up to George. George looks at his hand and lays it down, and Fareed is going to pick up the antes and the blinds. Important for Fareed based on his chip count. Beautiful day here in Punta Cana. Always a beautiful day here, whether you're at Bavaro Beach or Punta Cana Beach or Cap Cana Beach. They're just gorgeous white sanded beaches. Beautiful place to be. And now it is your turn to act, Bob. He's laid it down. Now it's on Ari. And Ari, don't forget, is the chip leader here at the table. Certainly with an opportunity to muscle around the chips a little bit. And he has raised to 175,000. George has found 2 10s. And he's moved all in. He's re-raised Ari with 2 10s. He's involved in this pot all the way up to his last chip. And now Raul is thinking about it. Raul has ace-queen. Ace-queen offsuit. He's called. And Ari folds. So it's heads up here. Raul is in for his tournament life with ace queen. George has got 2 10s. I believe he's got the bigger stack. Is 3.2 million in the pot. The 2 10s are ahead slightly. Here's the flop. 6, 8, 9. 2 10s are still in the lead. There's a queen. Raul has hit a queen. Now there's an opportunity for a 7, 10, or jack in order for Raul, and it's another 9. Not going to win it. The ace queen is going to win, and Raul is going to win this hand and cripple George's stack. Raul is going to win this hand and cripple George's stack. The 10s were good up until the turn when the queen hit. The 2 10s still had a lot of outs in that he could have made either straight and or hit a 10. It looks like after the chip count that George has been eliminated. Raul covered George by just a small amount, and George has been eliminated from this tournament in 6th position.
So very surprising result in the 6th position. Mr. George Mounsef leaving the final table and taking home a nice prize of $24,345, getting eliminated by our local player, Mr. Castillo, who is running good at this moment.
He took the best hand in, but unfortunately it didn't go that way. After 4 people eliminated, there's still 5 players left at the Punta Cana Poker Classic, and the person who gets knocked out next will get $31,720. That means everyone at the final table is at least guaranteed $31,720, but they're still all vying for that first place. Back to the action. We're still at $40,000 and $80,000 blinds with a $10,000 ante. The light blues are $10,000, the reds are $25,000. We've got Bob with the button. That means Ari is in the small blind, Steve is in the big blind, and Fareed is first to act. Pot's $170,000 without any action, so there's still plenty to play for. They both fold, and Ari has King Jack in the small blind and has moved all in. It looks like he's going to get called by Steve Jacobs with ace-5. The ace is in the lead, but not by much. And don't forget that Ari's got plenty of chips, so Steve would be in risk here. There's an ace. What there is a straight draw for Ari. Ari needs a queen. There's a king. Now he needs another king or a queen or a jack. And it's a 5. So aces and 5s for Steve. Steve is going to double up with the aces and 5s. Ari certainly had some chances to bust him there, but he didn't catch the card that he needed, and Steve ended up winning the hand. Steve's got a very important double up.
Bob Koteski, visiting us from Winnipeg, Canada. He won the 7th place in the Manitoba Winnipeg 2013 edition. The largest cash prize so far for Bob, $4,600.
So now the button is on Raul. Bob is in the small blind, and Ari over on the sidelines is the big blind. He's going to make it back to the table in time. That'll put Steve, who's now picked up a double up, back under the gun. He's first to act and lays it down. Fareed also lays it down, as does Raul. That leaves the 2 blinds. Bob's got ace deuce, and he has moved in. Bob has got ace deuce and has moved in here, and Ari picks up 2 10s in the big blind. It's ace deuce against 2 10 for Bob's life. Here's the flop. It's 4 4 4. So the only card that can help is an ace here, an ace or a king. It's a 9, and 4s full of 10s will win. Ari has eliminated Bob Koteski. Bob Katesi is finished in 5th position, and Ari picks up another $1.7 million in chips. Bob played very, very well at the final table, should be very proud of himself. And he's not going home empty-handed. That's right. Bob walks away with $31,720. $31,720, not a bad finish for 5th place. And having eliminated the 5th place player, number 4 place pays $39,835. So $39,835 guaranteed to everybody at the final table, and we're back to the action. Well, you guys presented some very interesting stuff, but nothing as interesting as losing 2 players that round. We lost 2 players in this episode. Bob and George left us. We're down to 4 players going into next episode. You're not going to want to miss that episode. Who do you think is going to win?
So it's been an interesting mix of players. We have recreational players and professional players. Doesn't mean that all professional players have to win. So we'll see what happens.
That's true. And how about you? Do you think that the double-ups are going to continue to happen, or the chop-downs?
Well, double or chop, it's going to be interesting anyway. For sure, whoever gets kicked out on the next episode should certainly stay at the hotel.
We'll see you next week. Don't forget to come back for episode number 4 of the Punta Cana Poker Classic. You don't know what's going to happen yet.